Oh my golly. We are back with yet another episode of Grindhouse Chic. As always, I am Robert Schneider, and joining me is my ever faithful companion, marvelous Matt Armstrong.
So marvelous.
So I want to tell a funny story. I was going to tell you when we were talking off camera before we recorded this. So I was walking up the stairs of my apartment complex, and right in the middle of the staircase was a human-sized shit. And
Okay.
one of our elevators is out of order, but I just can't imagine somebody going, you know what? I really got to go. I'm going to use this spot in the
Yeah.
stairwell and release a deuce. I can't imagine that thought process, and not even having toilet paper. Maybe they just came back from the grocery and had some toilet paper there, and like, all right.
I think between the fires and the fighting and now the poop in your stairwell, I think it's time to move.
I just signed a new lease.
Oh,
They didn't raise my rent.
they didn't?
No,
Oh, nice.
I'm still under 2,000 here, which is ridiculous for an apartment to begin with.
Yeah, it is. Yes,
Like, I don't have amenities like a concierge.
You have like a pool there?
I don't go swimming in public pools.
Why not?
You've been in public pools,
Got
right?
chlorine in them.
Yeah, just the notion that someone might have pissed in there is just gross to me. Is just gross. So we you know what else is gross? That we have once again survived the sale, and now we are in the beginning of partner label month.
Mm-hmm.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how disappointed are you in partner label month?
I'd say it's about the same as usual. I mean, mostly just in the sense that I don't know what any of these movies are, but I mean, sometimes I've been pretty pleasantly surprised once I watch them, at least. People seem to be pumped about that uh with the Rifkin set.
Yeah, let's talk about them for a second. Let me go on the TV screen to Vinegar Syndrome. All right. So we knew we were getting an Adam Rifkin Film Festival. That one was kind of announced early on. Has that one been selling well?
Um so it says it's limited to 2,500 and there are still over 2,000.
So it's not
So
selling well.
no.
You know, I think this is really cool of seeing the origins of a filmmaker. I don't know if Adam Rifkin is the filmmaker to do this with, but it's an interesting premise, and I'm going along for the ride because I do like Adam Rifkin's films.
Mhm.
I even do like Detroit Rock City.
I think that's the only one I've seen.
No, you've seen other ones of his. You saw Invisible Maniac
Oh, that's him.
under the Riff Coogan
Okay.
moniker. Yeah, you've probably seen more than you realized, but
Hmm.
he's done a lot. And again, this is I don't know if it's worth $27.99, and I don't know if I would have bought it if it wasn't from Vinegar Syndrome. But I'm very intrigued by it. What I am not intrigued about is Altered Innocence Volume 2. To
Yeah,
be
I have the first one, and that
Yeah,
the first one sold out really fast. This one's not really moving. Um,
again, my problem with Altered Innocence. Like the first one had music videos on there mixed with short films,
hmm.
and I was excited about that. And to be fair, a lot of the short films on that one were really good. I'm but like, the overall line, it's too artsy for my taste.
Yeah,
I love what they're doing, but I I'm not a pretentious film lover, so
Yeah, that does seem to be the usual complaint with it. They're just kind of like too artsy. There's been a couple that I've really liked, like that Death of Nintendo. I always recommend to
I,
people,
I
but
haven't. I haven't opened it yet. I'm
yeah. Other than that, I haven't watched too many of their films.
okay. Then Saturn's core at dawn they sleep. I didn't even read the. Again, I don't order Saturn's core. What was their description? When a drug deal goes awry, best friends Stephen and Ian find themselves at odds with a rival crime outfit. Soon after, their lives are turned upside down when they spend a lust-filled night with two beautiful women who turn out to be bloodthirsty angelic vampires. Once the vampire transformation takes hold, Stephen and Ian use their newfound bloodlust and immortality to enact a gore-soaked revenge on their backstabbing adversaries. But when Stephen makes a pact with a demon to hunt down and exterminate the angels that spawn him, the former friends must battle to the death as the ultimate fate of mankind hangs in the balance.
Yeah, I will say, just from the pictures, this one does look pretty insane.
Yeah, but it also sounds like this should not. This would have been an awesome movie. It had a big budget, had a budget, and was shot on film.
Yeah,
I love the premise. Maybe I'll order it event in the halfway sale. I don't need a slip cover for it.
yeah. This one's selling pretty decently though.
Yeah. Effects. I'm really surprised that one sold out. I'll admit I bought it. Do I think it's a great movie? Not by a long shot. But maybe if I watch it sober, I might actually enjoy it. That one's almost gone, right?
It's got 400 left. I think this one was close, and then the number got bumped back up again.
The next one is Funny Haha. I've seen this one before at a film festival, and I am very excited about it.
This is this is the mumblecore one.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Um, so when I first saw it, the lead actress Kate Dollenmayer, I think that's how you pronounce it. Um, I really thought she was going to be a major star because when you see this one, she has charisma, and I think she's one of the best actors in this film. But sadly, she hasn't. She was in a Duplass Brothers movie, I think, early on when they were mumblecore.
Mm.
But yeah, I am so excited about this one. This will be a day one watch when I finally open up this package because I think I'm going to be inundated with stuff by the time this one comes out. Did you order
Nice.
this?
Well, would it surprise you to hear that I ordered every single one of these titles?
All right, all right.
Oh
Uh,
God.
Graveyard Alive. That looks meh. I didn't read anything about from the lat. I didn't read the Deaf Crocodile Prog Nights or Yellow Veil Pictures How to Be Loved. I considered buying the Queen of Hollywood Boulevard, but
Hmm.
no. I did go with Shame from Umbrella and Culture Shock Virgin High plus Hot Under the Collar. Those are going to be great.
So are these the adult ones that they were
No,
hinting at?
these are straight to video hard R sex comedies.
Okay.
I don't think Linnea Quigley ever did a porn.
Mm,
So you really bought all of them?
I did, yeah.
Matt.
Yeah, I just jumped in and just threw them all in and checked out real quick before I could even change my mind.
You gotta start thinking about this stuff. So I mean there was a back when there were fewer partner labels, I'll admit I bought all of them. But then I started realizing there were ones I just did not gravitate to originally just to watch them. I
Hmm.
would start like the Altered Innocent stuff kind of started falling to the back. Um, I watched the one called Knocking. I think Yellow put that out. I thought it was
Yep.
boring as fuck. And I'm like thinking to myself, these, am I buying stuff because I actually like it, or am I buying stuff because Vinegar Syndrome put it out and I have that fear of missing out?
Hmm.
And I look at all the unwrapped stuff that I have, and I'm like, man, this fear of missing out is not even a fear anymore. It's I'm done. I'll happily miss out.
Yeah. I think I'm kind of like, I do have the fear of missing out, but it's a lot of it is I really miss that feeling of like going to Best Buy and walking down the aisles and just picking up something that I've never heard of, um, and finding like cool blind buys. So that's kind of like my big thing. I'm
Yeah,
hoping to one day that I'm just gonna have tons of time to watch all these.
but you don't care if you have the slipcover or not, right?
Um, no, I mean there's been some that I've got that didn't have it. I mean, if it's there, I'll get that one
Yeah,
for
but
sure. But
eventually these movies are going to be half off, or some even lower than that.
hmm.
So I would be, I like the Saturn's Core. If I hear it's good, I'll pick it up in November or in February when it's 50% off.
Yeah,
I, I
it's not half off for you now.
oh fuck, it is.
Yeah, get it, get them
Fuck.
all.
So basically, I don't even have to wait for the half year sale, do I?
Yeah, that's what I used to have to do. But then now I can just, that's another reason I get them because they're just always half off.
Yeah, it still adds up. It still adds
Yeah.
up. So normally we have our conquering our collection picks, and I'll admit work was so busy this week, and
Hmm.
I did a few shows. I bombed hard on Friday, and decided I couldn't go out last night because of how bad I did. And so I had a movie that I was going to watch for the conquering my collection. It was a DVD of two Bruce Leff films,
Hmm.
and I had it unwrapped, but then I got distracted and I started moving down into the wasteland known as the movie room, scouring the shelves. And this is the problem of having such a large collection. If I don't have a plan of what I'm going to watch, I'm scouring like, what am I in the mood for? And it
Hmm.
takes about an hour.
Yep. Yeah.
And so I'm looking at these shelves and I pull out the Roberta Findlay double feature, Primeval and The Lurkers. And I'm like, oh, maybe I should rewatch this. And when I pulled it out, I realized I'd never watched it because it was still in the wrapper. And I'm like, all right, I know I'm in the mood for something stupid. Have you seen Primeval yet?
I think that one's still sealed.
Yeah, we should talk about it on a future episode. But I had so much fun with it. I haven't watched The Lurkers yet. But I had so much fun with that movie. It was like it made no fucking sense. But I think Roberta Findlay is just this masterful filmmaker who can make something out of nearly nothing.
Hmm.
But I enjoyed it. And then I thought I watched it, but I guess I never finished watching it. It was Duck, the Columbine massacre film.
Mm-hmm.
We should talk about that one next week.
Okay.
Um,
Is it just like like a spoof of the incident?
well, basically, the two filmmakers decided to do it because they want to be the first ones to do it.
Okay.
It is somewhat of a comedy, but I don't want to talk
Right.
about it because I want to talk about it in detail. I will just say my letterbox review is just two words. Too soon.
Ooh. Okay.
But again, I'm not the biggest shot on video fan, but this one, yeah, I really want to have a conversation about it because it's a movie that needs to be talked about.
Okay. Yeah, I remember when I got that one, I was like, oh wow, someone someone actually made a movie about this that's not a documentary.
No.
So excited to watch it.
And then let me go to my letterbox. Oh, so then I also got a Kino film in the mail yesterday, The Experts, which I don't think we will ever talk about. What the
As in, it's not good, or
So it is so I used to watch that movie on cable all the time, and for a while it was my favorite John Travolta film because it was pre Pulp Fiction.
mm,
And it's a movie about um John Travolta and Ari Gross play a couple of guys who are trying to run a club, trying to be just create a club in New York, but they're complete idiots. And there's an American style town in Russia where they train spies, and some of they have people who live there, but they're raised to be Americans, and it's total 1950s. And basically, one of the people who runs the town, who is also in American Graffiti, his name was Charles Martin Smith, and Brian Doyle Murray basically plays the bad guy,
mm,
and so they basically offer these two guys $1,000 a week to come to this town in Nebraska, really the Soviet Union, to create a New York style nightclub. So this town is basically 1950s. They don't get current television. They don't have Walkman. They don't have VCRs. And then hilarity ensues. When I watched this on cable back in the day, it made sense because the Soviet Union was still a threat. Watching it today, it's funny, but not as funny as I remember liking it as a kid.
yeah.
But I'm glad I got it. It's the first time I ever saw a widescreen.
Hmm.
Let me read you my distinguished review of it on the box of the letter. I'm pretty sure this movie and Travolta's mullet killed the USSR.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
mullet will do it. That's just too much America.
It's so funny that Travolta had this really weird career in the late 80s, early 90s, where he was making such shit movies. And then he was so lucky that Travolta pulled him out of obscurity.
Hmm. Yeah, I think he's one of those weird ones that like I think in the like late 90s and early 2000s even I liked his movies, and then he did the stuff with Tarantino, and then it seemed like he had one movie kind of maybe in the mid 2000s, and then he was just gone. And now he's just in real weird I guess direct to video stuff.
Yeah, he didn't take that comeback and use it fruitfully.
Yeah. He's due.
I think, he's had a rough several years. His wife died.
Hmm.
Oh, that was the other thing. I totally forgot she was in it. And she was a seductive Russian asset minx.
Mm.
And I also forgot Deborah Foreman from Valley Girl was in this movie. So they had star power. But the best role was James Keach, Stacy Keach's less talented brother, who plays a Russian pilot who's imprisoned in this village. And he's a big part of the whole rescue thing. But he thought he was arrested just for bringing condoms for stealing condoms from the supplies. I might have to watch it again.
Sounds like you do want to talk about it.
I do, but it's not part of our focus, and I don't think you ordered this one.
Yeah, I did not.
I imagine how broke you would be if you ordered every Kino release.
Yeah, there's way too many of those. Do they do like do they do their own restoring, or are they just pretty much just releasing stuff that they
I don't think they do their own restoring. I think they get it from the studios.
okay.
I mean, some of their movies are pretty darn cheap.
Yeah, I've got a couple of their I'll get a couple here and there during their sales, and I got a couple real old ones that I was excited to see look new, and they looked like just hot garbage. So I had assumed they just kind of got it and threw it on a disc and sold it.
Well, I mean, they really don't have it. Some of them don't have any special features at all.
Mm-hmm.
But like I during the sale, even though it wasn't on sale, I bought the 4K upgrade of Dress to Kill.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never going to get rid of my Criterion one because it has better extras on it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that just happened with another title. What was that? That Dress to Kill is De Palma, right?
Yep,
I think it was another De Palma movie that I can't remember.
I can't either. I can't either. Um, no, but all right. Let me ask you this: how do you manage such a large collection? And when people come over, do they think you're crazy for owning so much?
Well, it is not managed at the moment. Um, Still, I'm trying to get a hold of it, trying to put a dedicate a space to it, but it's still just in bins. It's in stacks down in the basement here with me. No one even knows it exists when they come over.
Your wife's probably happy about that.
Yeah.
But let's talk about a film that we've been planning on talking about. Um, would you consider this one a Giallo?
um, I think so. Yeah, I think it had a twist to the normal Gialli, but I think it is. Would you not?
No, I would. I would. I would.
And is it Jolly or Giallo?
It's Giallo.
Okay, I keep seeing it spelled
That's
both
how
ways.
that's how the cool kids talk about it.
What Giallo?
Giallo.
Okay,
All right.
I'm not
I
cool.
would normally read the I would normally read the Vinegar Syndrome synopsis, but their mainstream titles are down. Um, so five women for the killer. Five donne per la Asanio. Directed
Perfect.
by Stelvio Massi. It's a thriller about a reporter who comes home from an overseas assignment to find his baby in the hospital and his wife dead. It stars the great Francis Matthews as Giorgio Pisani, the Scala Revolt as Dr. Lydia Franzi, Giorgio Alberazzi, Professor Aldo Betti, Howard Ross as the police inspector, and a lot of beautiful women, including the five who were killed for the killer.
Did it end up being five?
You know what? I did not have a chance to rewatch it.
I was keeping track the whole time because I was like, okay. When we
So,
got when we got to the fourth one, that's when it really took a turn.
so before we get into the before I go into my overview of it, you do a bad job when you give the killer away halfway through it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, and
then
I kept going back and forth until that the one part, and I was just like, oh, it's them.
all right. So it involves this guy who's a reporter, though they're not very clear that he's a reporter early on. He comes home, his wife is in labor, he hurries to the house. He drives a really nice car.
Mm-hmm.
He comes home, and his sister-in-law is the doctor, and she has the bad news to say: your wife is dead, but your kid is alive. So then we go to the hospital. The kid's not is doing iffy, and this is where we meet my least favorite character in the film, the doctor. He had a nice swatch of chest hair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And let's just say, people listen to him on every word. We also then meet his wife's family, including her brother, who is untrustworthy, a mysterious guy hanging around the funeral. So basically, we meet a lot of suspects.
Yeah.
Everyone's a suspect in this movie. We who else? Oh, and then he eventually they're on a news report. Can you finish the rest of it, because I have totally forgotten it?
um yeah, basically it kind of follows around Giorgio. Um and it just kind of seems like everyone around him is pregnant, and it's every time he learns, or it's within earshot of someone announcing they're pregnant, they just end up dead in the next scene. uh,
Oh yeah,
um
that I'm forgetting. We do find out from his sister-in-law that he can't be the father of the
yeah.
child.
Yeah, I kept getting confused about what she was too, but yeah, so yeah, we learned that um we learned at one point that he's infertile, and causes him to what we think go mad, and
Start
uh,
murdering pregnant women.
yeah, seems like he's just hunting magically finding pregnant women all around town and just murdering them. But
But here's the most messed up part: the killer is wearing racing driver gloves, and one of the mysterious character is drives a race car. The brother looks like he owns race cars.
Mhm.
So all right, maybe it's one of these two.
And the professor has racing gloves too,
Oh yeah, and
or driving gloves.
the professor has a mistress who claims she's pregnant. It's his assistant or his secretary, but she's also fooling around with some other guy. And was she a hooker as well? I couldn't figure that out.
um Maybe. I should think she might have been a hooker, like at the whatever it was they were. Was that a school or was that a hospital? Like
It was a
what
hospital. It was a hospital.
Okay, so yeah, she might have just been like the
The office sleaze.
yeah.
Well, the doctor, the head professor, was the sleazy one because he was having an affair. Um, then his sister-in-law, he gets a babysitter, and the reason why I'm having trouble with the plot is because it's pretty fucking incoherent.
Yeah.
It seems like there are large pieces of this film that were never filmed
Hmm.
because we find out a lot of information too late.
Yeah, that the like nanny just kind of came out of nowhere.
Well, no, we saw when she started, but
Mhm.
we didn't have a clue that he started a relationship with her
Yeah.
until she was like, "Oh, I'm pregnant." Oh, what? What? No. How? What? I don't recall you two kissing at any point
Yeah.
during this movie. I, I yeah, I don't fucking recall it. What I see is time jumps that just confuse the hell out of me.
Hmm.
So the nanny is pregnant. The doctor's girlfriend is pregnant, or so we think. The reporter woman the woman who works the newspaper is pregnant,
Hmm.
and she's a death early on in the film.
um and then the other one was just a random foreign girl who got hit by a car right in front of Giorgio.
Hey there, Giorgio. Another girl got murdered in front of you.
Who, right before she was trying to seduce him, was like, "Oh, by the way, I found out I'm pregnant today."
I have a feeling Giorgio was the most handsome man in Italy. That women's panties drop, and just by looking at him, they immediately got pregnant. All right, so his sister-in-law, her husband's away, probably doing something devious because we know he's not a good person. And someone intrudes on her house. Giorgio comes and rescues her, and she goes to stay with him. May I spoil the movie right now?
Yeah, this is where it was spoiled for me anyway. So
Yeah. This is where they pretty much revealed that she is the killer. Giorgio, who is supposed to be a reporter, who I now think might be the worst reporter in the history of reporting, misses something crucial. She said the person who attacked her jumped out of the window, yet there were potted plants still on the window. Towards the end of the film, he is at a party, and was it a dog or a kid that knocked plants over? I can't remember.
A kid, yeah.
Yeah. And then we have a flashback, and he's like, "Oh no, my lady friend is pregnant, and my sister-in-law is the killer." So it's a Jack Bauer type race to get to her. And then we find out the sister-in-law has been in love with him. His kid is really his kid because she's just the one who put down that he was infertile. So, and she wanted to have a kid with him.
Yeah. There's really a lot just shoehorned in there.
Here's the thing about it. This could have been a great film. It had an interesting premise that really had me drawn in compared to this guy's other film that was on one of the boxes. I think it was called Arabella. Much like this one, it had plenty of nudity in it. And the script and the directing was so sloppy. Like it was a lot of what, when, how, where,
Yeah.
what? A lot of sloppy filmmaking. Because I think I don't recall a movie where every victim except for one was pregnant.
Right.
Because the receptionist mistress was trying to blackmail the professor.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, is it I don't think it's very common for Jollies to have a female killer, is it?
No, there are some that do.
Are there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen a lot, but I thought that was at least a cool aspect of it, I guess.
But at the end, it felt like a Scooby Doo episode.
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing. I was this movie from the negative or was it from a print?
um Man, I think that message at the beginning said that I think it was from a negative, except that they couldn't get the extra gore scenes from the negative, so they had to use some VHS. Did you watch those?
No, I did not.
Man, it was like literally 1 minute's worth of like gore separated between three kills, and it was just like a knife slicing from the bush to the belly.
That's
Uh,
that's so
I'll
70s.
I'll edit out that I just said that.
No, you can say it. We're not monetized.
And it was a pretty like graphic. It was a good effect. I wish they would have kept it in there, but um I think it definitely explained a little better like what was happening.
I just recall the murder not looking that great. Like they only had a few thousand lira to make this film. I don't know. It's it had, again, such a good premise, but the execution was so failed. I'm pretty sure this was going to be in the next Forgotten Giallo set,
Could have been, yeah.
but I don't think they're doing those anymore, and they're releasing them separately. And maybe that's better because more people will probably watch it this way. But I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was pretty disappointed by this movie.
I feel like they just, like you said, good premise. I feel like they just tried to put too much into it. Like the whole storyline with, so the race car driver was Lydia's husband.
No, no, it was
It's her stepbrother.
her. It was his wife's illegitimate brother.
Okay. And there was a thing with like an envelope that I don't think ever panned out.
No, no, there a lot of plot points just mysteriously
Yeah.
disappeared.
Yeah. So yeah, I
like
think they
like
could have
Giorgio
just
being
like,
a reporter.
yeah, that, so when he met up with the first girl, the one that got hit by the car, he like signed a book and I was like, "Oh, he like writes novels." And then all of a sudden he was like at the newspaper place and I was like, "Okay, he's writing articles for the newspaper, I guess."
It sounds like he's a jet setting reporter.
Yeah.
It sounds like they both were because she the reporter just couldn't go on this assignment that she really wanted to because she's pregnant and had to stay home. It all right. I'm just realizing this now. Is Was Lydia the OBGYN for all the pregnant women in the
Yeah.
city in Rome?
She was.
All right, that makes all the sense, all none of
Yeah.
the sense in the world.
One thing I thought was funny was so the nanny tells Giorgio that she's pregnant. Then Giorgio leaves to go to his little dinner
Oh, remember,
thing.
he thought he was infertile.
Right, right. So um it goes back to her. She's like about to put on her like record and do some reading. But before that happens, or no, this is after it happened. She goes and just pours herself a scotch. And the doorbell rings and she drops it.
Well, remember back in the 70s, drinking and smoking while you're pregnant was
Yeah.
okay. In
Yeah,
fact, it was considered cool.
I didn't know if it was that or they just didn't even think about it, or I thought it was about to be like, oh, she's not pregnant either. She's just
No,
she's trying to stay with Giorgio.
but again, that whole plot point of them being lovers just came out of nowhere. It would be like if I just told you that
You're
I
pregnant.
just bought
Congratulations.
I'm the secret owner of Vinegar Syndrome and Severin, and I'm just releasing them as doing them as separate companies to take everybody's money. You'll be like, wow, maybe you should have told us that. This kind of podcast would be a conflict of interest for you.
Yeah. I've given you thousands of dollars.
And I wipe my butt with it. No, it's just this movie was just ridiculous. It
So
was
the
ridiculous.
last part at the end where it's like the after the twist that it's Lydia, then there's the double twist that it's Aldo killed the one girl. Um, but I was wondering if he really did do that, his like mistress, because there was a point where he was talking to his wife and he was like, they were asking about this key and he was asking his wife like, do you know where the key is? And she was like, why? And he was like, because I have lost the key and I have no idea where it is. So I didn't know if the wife like had her killed and pinned it on Aldo.
I didn't even get that.
Yeah. It was like just a one of the like drunken talks that she was having with them at one point. Super healthy relationship they had.
I wish my name was Aldo. I'd
Just
be.
do it.
I think I'd be a lot cooler if my name was Aldo.
Aldo Schneider.
You know what? I wish I was Italian. I'd be like, but at least some. I do want to go to Italy and Germany just so I can go to all the filming locations for these movies. This is the movie theater where they shot demons. This is the
Speaking of it seemed like every single woman that got killed in this, it seemed like they just used the same exact apartment for every single one.
What do you
Because
mean?
it was
Oh,
all like all the shots were like had the same light coming in, and all it was showing was the same like green and yellow. I don't know if it was like fabric or wallpaper on something, but I was just like, oh, are they back at this girl's apartment? Like, did she move in after?
they probably shot it in one house.
Yeah.
I mean, the place where Giorgio's manor was probably served as the filming location for everything,
Yeah.
minus the newspaper office. I know. All right. So how many? Oh, we gotta talk. Lydia also killed his wife.
Oh yeah. Okay, so his wife, a random foreign girl,
The
Oriana,
reporter.
was from the newspaper.
Yep.
Um,
The mistress.
well, that's supposedly Aldo. So there's only three women for the killer.
No, 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 no. So
Look,
the
I was keeping track of them. Number one,
well, hold on. It didn't say all of them died. So the nanny was one.
okay,
I'm going to go on the assumption that Lydia killed everybody.
okay. So I mean, yeah, if that's the case, then yeah, that would be five.
Yeah. So the title is aptly named Five Women for the Kill. It's kind of lazy, but you know exactly what you get. Three people, five people are going to be murdered or attempted murdered in this one.
Yeah.
I was describing the title to a friend, and she was like, "Is it violent against women?" I'm like, "Well, not really, because the killer is a woman herself." Basically,
Only if they're pregnant.
basically it's a. I forgot that part. Basically, it's a pro-feminist movie, but it's really not. It's basically a pro-life film.
Uh-huh.
All right, how many how many women would you give this movie?
I'm gonna go I'm gonna go 2.5 women for the killer.
I am exactly in the same
Yeah.
place. Two and a half women for the killer.
Yeah. I think it had a chance to be good there, but there was just too much going on.
I saw a lot of negative chat about this movie online, and I think this is one that if I still did drugs and heavily drank, it would be a film to invite friends over just to make fun of it. It's a mystery science theater type film.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it was entertaining enough. Like I wanted to finish it to see if I was right about the killer, and
How could you not be? Any
yeah.
pretty much every detective show that we've watched has trained us to look for details. Like if there's an attacker in the house and they go out the window, there would be carnage.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought I was sure of who it was, but then at one point I thought for sure this whatever this envelope that they keep talking about is going to show up, and it's just going to have a picture of the killer in
I,
it.
I have a feeling when they wrote this film, they had no idea who the killer would be.
Yeah,
I think they were. I think if I was a betting person, there are five different endings for this film.
could be. I'm looking at it. There were four writers, which is astonishing, but maybe that explains things. They just none of them could agree on anything.
They agreed on the title. How
Yeah.
many women are going to? How many women for the killer? Five. Any more would be a much harder movie to write.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know what? Again, this is again one of the reasons I subscribe is I get thrown all these movies that I otherwise never would have heard of.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah, and I do. There were. I don't know if you even looked at the special features, but there are quite a few um, interviews with people in the movie, and I wanted to watch those to see if it explained it a little more, but just didn't have time. But I think I will do that maybe tonight. See if it.
oh, you don't have to
Uh,
work. You don't have to work tomorrow.
I do, but I just I get like 4 hours of sleep a night.
That's not healthy, bro.
It's just who I am.
Like yeah, last night I couldn't sleep at all. But I will not get into that. I was just so stressed out.
It happens.
Yeah. So I've been currently rewatching The Deuce on HBO. I'm sorry, on Max. By the way, should we just change our show to just Chic?
Yeah, I hate that. I hate that new name. I hate the new stuff that's on it. I hate it.
Yeah, I don't like any of the TLC or Discovery stuff.
Yeah,
And
except hoarders.
they removed a lot. They removed a lot of content from like Adult Swim on there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how am I finished watching the entire series of Space Ghost Coast to Coast or the Brack Show? They removed Babylon fucking 5.
Did they?
And I'm going to go dig out my DVDs of it.
That's the bad thing about streaming. They can just
well
take it away for no reason.
actually, let's talk about that because it's happening a lot. Disney and Hulu removed a ton of content. I mean, I have Disney Plus. They kept the Marvel and Star Wars, most of the Marvel stuff and all the Star Wars stuff, but they removed a film I watched once. And I actually liked it. It was the story about the kid who with cancer who wrote the song Clouds. I'm like, why would you remove this movie? It was actually really good. It was, it was an emotional film. And I'm like, why would you pull this? Why would you pull the Artemis Fowl movie that I had no intention of watching, but maybe one day I would have watched it.
Yeah.
And the reason why they're like, even Max removed Westworld.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, it's now on Tubi.
I was definitely going to watch that one day too.
I mean, you can pick it up on physical media, but that was I mean, when HBO Max started, this was the place to find all of your favorite stuff in one place.
Yeah.
And I'm really people, I mean, this is why, like, again, why physical media is so important. Because one day you're gonna want to watch, for some reason, if Artemis Fowl is one of your favorite movies, you're gonna want to own it because it could be gone or scenes could be cut. Like, I'm really surprised that Quantumania is on Disney Plus because the guy who played Kang did some bad things.
I still haven't even read into that.
I think they're recasting him.
Are they?
Yeah.
That's a shame. I don't know what he did, but he was good as Kang.
He abused a woman, so that's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. If all the allegations are true, he deserves to be canceled. And he was great in Creed 3.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, last week I bought that in Quantumania on 4K, and I picked up a Criterion at Best Buy. I think it's called Triangle of Sadness.
I watched that.
Good. I know it's pretentious as hell.
It is, and it has a message behind it, but I don't know if I don't know if I liked it or disliked it. You'll have to watch it and let me know what you think.
I thought the trailers looked really good for it.
Yeah.
But again, I know that movie's streaming, but for some reason when I saw the trailers, it's like, all right, I wanna, I'm gonna like this movie looks really good. I'm gonna want to own it.
Hmm.
And while I don't do a lot of blind buys anymore, except from the boutique labels, Best Buy just had it there, and I'm like, all right, I don't. It doesn't feel like I'm going to Barnes and Noble and paying a lot of money for this.
Right.
Even their half off stuff seems like it's a lot of money.
I wonder that sale should be coming up, right? I wonder if it's going to happen,
It
or is it
happens like
July?
it's July.
Is it okay?
No,
I can't
when did
remember. It's definitely in the summer.
what month last year did Heavy Metal Parking Lot come out in?
Ooh, no idea.
Because I was at Barnes and Noble for the sale when they announced it, and it was the first time I ever ordered on my phone in public. And yeah, just I wanted the Pulse title pretty bad, so it was July.
Looks like Heavy Metal Parking Lot slipcover and original pressing. It says August or April
No, when did Shaft come out from Criterion?
or August. It says August. Shaft.
No, it was July. It must have been. Well, hold on. Are you looking at Blu-ray.com?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's not the real dates.
Shaft on here says June 21st.
So I waited a week. I waited 2 weeks to buy it for the sale.
Okay.
So it
So
was
yeah,
July.
it's like yeah, okay. All right.
And then it had to be July 1st because that's when the titles were announced.
Hmm.
It was Heavy Metal Parking Lot, the Pulse Franco title, and Satan's Children.
Hmm.
But I think that does it for this week.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week as we talk about Duck and talk about the dangers of going to school.
Just when you thought it was safe.
You know what? There needs to be like a I wish there was an 80s slasher film that took place in a high school that was you've made fun of her meatloaf. You thought her pizza was disgusting. But when it comes time to clean up the school, no. When she sees kids aren't eating healthy, she gets pissed off. And you don't want to piss off the lunch lady.
I think we just make it.
Well, if you don't buy every partner label, you can fund the movie.
All right. Deal.
Who would who
I'll
would, who would
I'll
we
hold
have
back
star?
on one partner label next week or next month.
Who would we star have star as the lunch lady?
uh like a real actress or
Or a real actress?
um I don't know why, but for some reason my mind just went to putting a bunch of makeup on this woman and having her do a real campy dumb role, and I for some reason just immediately thought of Melissa McCarthy.
Then it becomes a comedy.
Yeah.
I don't want.
uh
I don't want it to become a comedy.
Trying to think of actresses I've seen in movies lately. Ooh, we could do it might be too similar to her last role, but the way her role in Everything Everywhere, Jamie Lee Curtis, that was pretty lunch lady-ish.
Yeah. No one would buy her as the killer, and she's already done the killer in Prom Night.
Yeah.
All right. What
Mm,
modern actress?
hmm.
It can't be someone too pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, for the sequel, The Janitor, Uh, it would be obvious. It would be um, what the fuck, Joaquin Phoenix,
It could be good.
or I mean, you could just buy him as a janitor. Just he's not only trying to clean up the school, he's going to clean up the school, not with a broom, but with a machete.
What about what about like Tony Collette?
She'd be good. She might be too classy for it.
Maybe.
She
But you know,
actually, Alex Bornstein from Family Guy and Miss Maisel.
okay, yeah, she could do it.
Yeah, yeah. She might be too funny, but she also has a good dramatic streak.
I was gonna say also, I just thought of you saw Beau was Afraid, didn't you?
Yes,
The girl that he finally lost his virginity to,
Parker Posey.
Parker Posey.
Yeah,
She could be a murdering lunch lady.
she could be. She could be.
She did have my favorite line in a recent movie. In that
What?
movie,
What?
I believe it was, wow, wow, you just blew right through that bag, didn't you?
I'm surprised in the movie The 40-Year-Old Virgin, the same thing did not happen. I mean, if he, I don't know how Bo lived his life without pleasuring himself. It explains his neuroses.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Oh,
that's a great. I'm debating whether to pre-order the Blu-ray because I'm sure their A24 is going to announce a 4K later on.
yeah. What's with that? Are they just holding the 4Ks for their own site, or
I don't know. I don't know. I think I would like to think there might be even a longer cut of that movie.
oh yeah, that one, the theatrical one was definitely too short.
But yeah, it moved along so nicely.
Yeah,
I mean, so far that's one of my favorite movies of the year. You know, a movie I didn't really like, and I'll admit I did not watch all the way through. Was Infinity Pool.
I haven't seen that yet.
Thought it was I thought it was pretty boring.
Yeah, I hadn't really heard anything good about it. Um, other than there was like an X-rated version, but
I have a feeling, yeah. Again, I think we'll see that eventually here in the States, or I'll order it from elsewhere. I'm
I
I'm
don't. Go ahead.
I'm debating whether to order Kids.
Mm.
That just sounded so wrong. I know I'm out.
Like on Wayfair.
Let me rephrase it. I'm thinking about ordering the Larry Clark classic film Kids from Umbrella. Here's the thing:
Yeah.
I haven't seen it since I saw it in the theater theatrically, and I don't know if I walked out of that movie feeling very negative. I
Hmm.
don't know if I need to see it again, but I'd like to see it from a my older version self. But I think you've seen it, haven't you?
Yeah, like it was one that I got on DVD from Best Buy like a long time ago
The problem
in
with
Gummo.
Kids is you have this our main antagonist who unknowingly has AIDS and is spreading it. And then when his buddy basically rapes Chloe I can't pronounce her last name, Chloe Sven,
Savigny.
yeah. He un and she's saying no, no. It takes on this very weird double meaning is in no, no, don't do this. And again, I don't know if it was a bold movie, but I don't know if it was a movie that I really like or need to see again because it left such a strong impression on me.
Yeah. Yeah, I got on there to look at their new releases and I didn't realize that their like limited editions were so expensive.
What do you mean?
Like for kids, for example, there's two versions. One is just like the movie with the slipcover, and I think that's like, I don't know, 25 to 30 or something. And then there's a version higher than that that's like $70.
What's on it?
Um, it just comes with like extra stuff. Let me see. It's like they did that, and the same thing with that Razorback movie.
Hmm. I don't
Um,
know. I don't need all the extras.
yeah,
Yeah.
75 for kids. Let's see. Kids plus We Were Once Kids. I don't know if that's like a documentary.
Yeah, I think that's on the other one version.
Um, a rigid case, a slipcase, a poster, and a book. And it looks like there was another version that had some 35 millimeter film art cards, but that version is sold out.
On that note, I am $75 for kids is not worth it.
Yeah.
We will continue talking about that next week, and Duck and whatever else comes across and our Concrete in our collection will return.
Bingo.
All right. As always, like, subscribe, share. If you don't, Brian will never come back to the show. All right. Bye, everyone.